Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's become, well, more critical and way more complicated than ever before. We're talking about your right to privacy. We throw that word around all the time, right? Privacy. But what does it actually mean? It's so much more than just keeping secrets. It's this huge concept with a really deep legal and ethical history. And it's changing all the time. So where did this whole conversation even start in modern law? Well, you have to go way back, over a century ago, to 1890. Two legal scholars, Samuel Warren and Louis Brandeis, wrote this absolutely groundbreaking article, and they boiled privacy down to this simple but super powerful phrase: the right to be let alone. Okay, the right to be let alone. Let's dig into that. It's the foundation for everything we're going to talk about. What did that even mean back then? And maybe more importantly, how has that simple idea been stretched to its absolute breaking point in the world we live in today? To really get a feel for how much things have changed, just think about the scale. The big, scary technology that kicked off this whole legal debate, it was the brand new portable camera. The idea that someone could just snap your picture without asking. Now, fast forward to today. The problem isn't just one photo. It's this massive, never-ending collection of our data, an AI that can analyze literally every single click, post, and purchase to create this incredibly detailed profile of who you are. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? From the very beginning, privacy has been about one thing: control. Control over our personal information. We call this information privacy, and it's a simple but powerful idea. You should be the one to decide what parts of your life, who you are, what you do, what you believe, get shared with the rest of the world. But look, this goes way deeper than just data. There's a reason privacy is protected so fiercely in legal systems. It's because it's considered a fundamental human right. It's absolutely essential to our dignity. So, let's unpack why it's that important. Think of it this way. Privacy isn't some isolated thing. It's the foundation that all our other freedoms are built on. It's what gives us autonomy, the freedom to be ourselves and make our own choices without feeling like someone's always looking over our shoulder. It's tied directly to our liberty, our integrity, and, at the end of the day, our basic human dignity. And that's exactly why you see it pop up in huge global documents like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this isn't just some philosophical idea. It's taken very seriously in the legal world. In Canada, for example, the Supreme Court has actually called privacy a quasi-constitutional right. What does that even mean? It means they see it as being almost as important as the rights that are literally written into the Constitution. And the reason is simple. Without privacy, how can you really have freedom of speech or freedom of association? It's the right that makes the other rights possible. Okay, so we've established that our privacy is a really big deal. So how exactly is it under threat? I mean, it can feel pretty overwhelming, right? So let's try to make it simpler. We're going to use a basic framework to break down the different ways things can go wrong. Basically, you can think of the threats to your privacy in 4 main stages. It kind of follows the journey your data takes. First, it's collected. Then it's processed. After that, it might be disseminated or spread around. And finally, you get what we can just call straight-up invasion. Let's walk through each one. All right, first up, information collection. This one's pretty straightforward. It's just what it sounds like. Someone is gathering data about you. We're talking about the surveillance camera on the street corner, or maybe that app on your phone that's tracking your location 24/7, even when you've forgotten it's even running. Okay, next up is information processing. And this is where things get really interesting and, frankly, a little scary. This is where all those little bits of data they've collected get mashed together and analyzed. So your browsing history gets combined with your purchase data, which gets merged with your social media likes. And suddenly, they've built this scarily accurate profile of, well, you, your habits, your preferences, even your vulnerabilities. The third threat is called information dissemination. And this is all about your data getting out into the wild. Now, this can happen by accident, right? You hear about it all the time. A massive data breach leaks millions of customer records. Or it can be totally intentional, like when a company decides to sell your data to advertisers, often buried deep in the terms and conditions. And that brings us to the last one: invasion. This is different from the data stuff. This is about things that directly intrude on your life and just disturb your peace. We're talking about that endless flood of spam in your inbox, the telemarketing calls that never stop. It's all the stuff that eats up your time and attention. It's a direct violation of that original idea, right? The right to be let alone. All right, so we've looked at all the ways our privacy can be threatened. It's a bit grim, but what about the other side of the coin? What about the protections? The good news is there's actually a set of internationally recognized principles designed to do just that, to safeguard our personal information. And it all boils down to 10 core principles. These 10 ideas are basically the backbone of most modern privacy laws all over the world. They're like the rule book for how any organization is supposed to handle our data responsibly. So let's quickly run through them. The first 5 basically set the ground rules. It starts with accountability. Someone has to be in charge. Then they have to identify the purpose, tell you why they need your data. They have to get your consent. And this is a big one. They have to limit collection and limit use, meaning they can only take what they absolutely need for that one specific purpose. The second half is all about your rights and keeping the data safe. The info they have on you has to be accurate. It has to be protected with proper safeguards. Their policies have to be open, no secrets. You have to be able to access your own data. And finally, if something goes wrong, they have to provide recourse, a way for you to complain and get things fixed. Now, out of all 10 of those principles, there's one that you and I deal with every single day. And you could argue it's the one that's the most broken. I'm talking about consent. So let's zoom in on that and figure out what meaningful consent is even supposed to look like. I mean, seriously, think about it. How many times just today have you clicked I agree on some pop-up or terms of service without even glancing at it? We all do it. The thing is, the law says that for our consent to be valid, it has to be meaningful. So the big question is it? So here's the deal. For your I agree to actually count in the eyes of the law, a few things have to be true. First, you have to actually understand what you're agreeing to, the purpose, the consequences, the whole deal. Second, they can't force you to agree to stuff that isn't essential for the service they're providing. They have to give you a real choice. And finally, you always have the right to change your mind and take back your consent. And this isn't just some nice idea on paper. These rules are written into actual laws. A great example is in Canada, where they have a law called PIPEDA. It basically takes those 10 principles we just talked about and turns them into the official rulebook for how private companies have to handle your personal information. So that brings us right back to the beginning. We've seen that privacy isn't just some nice to have. It's a fundamental human right, a cornerstone of our freedom and our dignity. We have ways to understand the threats, and we have principles that are supposed to protect us. But in this world of endless scrolling, sharing, and clicking agree, the final question really comes back to you. Are you protecting it?